Hi, this is Mrs. Parr, and on this episode of Math Up to Par, we are going to talk about comparing whole numbers. When you are comparing numbers, you need to look at the largest shared place value first. So if the digit and the shared place value is the same, you're going to keep looking at the next shared place value until you find two digits that are different from each other. A great way to see this is by stacking up your numbers and lining them up by their place values, and then you can visually see which digits are greater than the other ones. Let's try it over here. So we're going to look at this first problem. When we show work for comparing numbers, we want to stack our numbers up. So if you're not sure how to show your work for comparing numbers, this is how. I'm going to take my two numbers and I'm going to write them, but I'm going to stack them up. I start with my first number, and then my second number. I'm going to make sure I line them up. I'm going to write it backwards from my ones place over so that I can make sure I'm lining up my digits correctly. Okay, being neat is really, really important. Using grid paper or taking your lined paper and instead of having it where you normally write across the lines, taking it and turning it sideways gives you columns, and then you can line up your numbers easier and it can make you see them better. So I'm going to write this one underneath. I see some digits that are different, but I want to make sure I write my whole number first to make sure. All right. Okay, so let's look at each digit starting with the greatest shared place value. In this case, they both share the millions place. In the millions place, they both have the number 5, so I'm going to cross that out. In the hundred thousands place, they both have the digit 4. In the 10,000s place, they both have the digit 7. In the thousands place, they both have the digit 2. In the hundreds place, they both have the digit 1. And then in the tens place, I see a difference. This tens place has a 5, this tens place has a 6. So I see that 6 is greater than 5. So that means that this bottom number is bigger. So you probably learned when you were younger that this is kind of like an alligator mouth. That's fine to think of it that way, and that's great. If that helps you remember, the mouth is open to eat the greater number. That's a strategy that a lot of people use, and that's great. We need to know that this symbol stands for less than. Okay, so this number is less than this number. It does not matter what the digits are after where you circled, because once you find a difference, because that's greater place value, whichever number is greater in the greater place value makes that number greater. So I would read this problem as 5,472,156 is less than 5,472,165. Let's try my next number. So let me write it in a different color so that we don't get too confused. 962,131. And then I'm going to write my next number underneath, lining up. You really want to make sure your commas are lined up. Using that grid paper, that lined paper really helps. I'm writing on the computer screen, so mine's not quite as neat, so please forgive me for that. All right, I want you to notice something about this number. These don't have the same number of digits, which means the greatest shared place value is right here, because technically there's an invisible 0 in this number right here, and 9 is greater than 0. Because this digit has a digit or has a number in the hundred thousands place and this one doesn't, it makes this one greater. Even though when you look at these over here, you think, okay, well, they both have 9s, a 6 is less than 9, you'd think this one's smaller than this one, but it's not the case, because this 9 is in the hundred thousands place and this 9 is in the 10,000s place. That's why stacking it up is so helpful, to just be able to check. And I know that for a lot of people comparing numbers, they find like really quick problems, but that means it's easy to make mistakes. So taking the time to stack up your numbers is just a small step that you can do that really helps ensure that your work is correct. So that means that this number is bigger. So if you're thinking about it like an alligator mouth, my mouth is open to eat the bigger number because the alligator wants to eat more, okay? So this symbol means greater than, okay? This symbol means less than, this symbol means greater than. So I would read this problem as 962,131 is greater than 98,251, okay? Let's do our last one. I'm going to stack them up, lining them up by their place values. At first glance, if you looked at this number really quickly, you kind of like your eyes dart to the beginning and the end. You kind of think, okay, they look the same. They look equal, right? And you assume, oh, well, I already used my greater than and less than symbol, so this one's probably equal to. But that's not the case because there's some differences in here. So let's go through it. Greatest shared place value, that's the same. That's the same. This one's different. It does not matter what is after it because what's right here is different. 5 is greater than 4, which means this number is bigger. So my symbol goes right here. That symbol means less than. So I would read this as 13,455,205 is less than 13,554. I'm sorry. Let me say that again. I make mistakes. 13,554,205. And I caught that mistake. There's a chance I made a mistake earlier, so I hope you were listening and you caught that too. Thank you so much for listening. That is all for our lesson on comparing whole numbers. Happy practicing.